All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are going to give it a few more seconds to let people start to roll in, and then we'll get started. All right, looks like we got a few more people who are joining us, so we can go ahead and get started. Thank you guys so much for being here. Welcome to Office Hours, which is our monthly session dedicated to optimizing your ambition instance and industry IQ. Our panel of experts builds the monthly agenda around trending topics, product best practices, and frequently asked questions from sales leaders like you. So thank you so much for joining. Before we get started, I do want to go through a little bit of housekeeping. So you're all automatically muted, given that several people are attending, but please feel free to utilize the chat. We actually do have an open Q&A at the end of this where we can address your questions. So please drop your questions in the chat or feel free to just say, hey. You will be sent a recording after the session has ended. So if you need to jump early, if you want to send this to a friend afterwards, or if you just want it in your back pocket, you'll have it. So we will send this to you after the session. And as always, please keep an eye out for next month's session. As I said, this is a monthly session. So next month's is all about how to keep your reps and sales teams engaged and excited. So I will drop the page in the chat a little bit later so you can kind of check out what's coming up. So today we are joined by our lovely product manager, Nick Love, who is going to be taking you through Ambition's 2022 product roadmap. And some of the takeaways that you can expect to get out of this today, we're really going to talk about how our new data integrations will create greater efficiencies, and then how group metric contributions and out of office will really detail out your data. And then really how 2022 will be your best year yet, making it our best year yet. So some of the goals for today are going to be solving two main problems. So how to bring your data insight and intelligence into one platform. So really I can never say this word, proliferation of software, and talking through those integrations. And then how to measure effectiveness of sales coaching. So you already know how to coach your sales teams, but how do you measure that success? So we're really going to be chatting through that and then sharing our vision for 2022. So 2021 was a big year for Ambition, and we have no real end in sight. So we want to thank you for being here on our journey as we continue to grow and expand and really show you what we've got up our sleeves for this new year. So without further ado, I can pass this to Nick to start talking about our product roadmap.
All right. Thank you, Danielle. Welcome, everyone. It's nice to see some familiar names in the chat here. So today we'll be going through active projects that are on our roadmap for 2022. And then we'll dive into vision or future work that you can expect later on in the second half of the year. This isn't meant to be an exhaustive list of everything we're doing, but really want to identify the most impactful updates that you can expect this year. We do release updates to the Ambition platform every other week. So you'll start to see a ramp up in that, especially in terms of usability, look and feel, making things a little easier to do in Ambition. So with that, we can get going. So we'll start out with what we're working on now for the first half of this presentation. And then in the second half, we'll look at future work. So the first thing you'll see is a new and improved navigation, that left-hand primary nav. The primary feature here is the ability to pin it open or leave it closed until it's hovered. If you spend a lot of time in there like me, you might accidentally open it every now and then. So we're making this a little less sensitive, counting down on those accidental opens. There's new groupings of like features in the left-hand nav, and also some new styling, moving that ambition logo over to the left away from the page title. So this is actively being worked on right now, and you can expect this hopefully in February. And next, we are implementing some new data integrations. If you kept up with us last year, you probably noticed we announced a Gong partnership and an integration, which you can see over on the right. It allows teams to bring and attach Gong recordings in their Ambition check-in. So the next phase of this work will be to bring in those Gong metrics for each employee as an Ambition metric, so that you can track those Gong metric data points as an Ambition scorecard, or see that data on a leaderboard or in competition. My favorite use case here is around, you could see how many times a coach has reviewed a Gong call recording, and that could be on the manager's scorecard. So a lot of really cool use cases coming with Gong. And the other two here, we're working with Seismic to track things around those live sends shared by employee, how many docs were created, social posts, and lessonly, their LMS. So with that, we can track how many lessons were completed by that employee, whether those were assigned to them or proactively taken. So continuing this partnership strategy will be really important for us this year. All right. This one I'm really excited about. It's within coaching. So Ambition helps facilitate that check-in conversation, that coaching event. And now we're going to do a better job of helping facilitate the next steps of that check-in. Every great one-on-one I have with my boss, it ends up in a few small action items that don't necessarily require a full-fledged action plan. So with this, we wanted to offer a simple and lightweight solution to create those action items or those next steps, and then roll these up to the user's dashboard, so they have one place to go to see what outstanding deliverables they need to complete, they need to check off the list for that next coaching event. So this is actively being worked on and targeting a Q1 release. And this one's been a big one. So if you're familiar with our benching system for competitions, you can mark when an employee is out of office to remove them from that group competition. With this project, we're extending that functionality across the app, primarily for scorecards. So the goal here, as you can see in the GIF, you can mark when an employee is out, what dates, and for what reason. And if you go into the group scorecard settings, you can designate which metric should be prorated versus which should not be prorated. So an example here, if I'm out for 5 days this month, my call volume target can be lowered by that percentage for the week, but my revenue target might stay the same. You might miss a few days, but you still have that larger goal to hit that month. So we're bringing that level of flexibility to the scorecard system to support time off, whether an employee is sick, if they're on leave, or if they're just on vacation. And the next slide here, alongside all of that out of office work, we will be redesigning the group dashboard. So as you can see in the screenshot to the right, we'll be showing individual contributions in that group scorecard. So if you click on revenue or talk time, you can see who has contributed the most to that, as well as any individuals who are out that day. So bringing that level of granularity to it, pulling in record detail from your CRM or Salesforce, showing how each metric was scored, just answering a lot of questions that team members have when they see this scorecard. And last but not least, a lot of teams don't have a dashboard with a scorecard, so we're improving that empty state to improve the look and feel of that homepage. All right. Yeah, so group management, a lot of you are in large sales organizations, and it's common for employees to jump around from role to role as they get promoted or change responsibilities. And we even see that here at Ambition. And it's difficult to maintain those hierarchical changes, especially for direct reports of managers. So this year we'll be tackling this, offering a new interface to bring in those manager direct reports, that manager relationship, bringing in group configurations and activation dates so that you can easily set when someone should be in the group. And this is a big one for us for usability and enterprise readiness later this year. Another scalability problem that we're solving is specifically around TV management. A lot of our customers have several hundred TVs, and at that scale, it's really difficult to manage the branding, to update slides, to remove slides from all those TVs. So with this project, our goal is to offer a slide library with organizational folders, as well as bulk actions to add or remove slides across multiple TVs, and slide templates. So if you have a successful format, we want to help you replicate that success across your TVs. And a little bullet point there, we'll be trickling in improvements throughout the year to that TV experience. But yeah, expect some of these updates later in the year. And the last big enterprise problem that we're looking at addressing is around our default roles and permissions. If you're familiar with our system now, we have an admin user, a manager, and a user. So our goal here is to allow teams to build their own fourth or fifth, however many custom roles they need. You can name it and designate which individual permissions apply to that role. So you can be more specific about who has access to this, or who can create a competition, or who can create a coaching template, bringing more flexibility to your use case there. And yeah, so that wraps up the first half. That's the current projects that we're working on, researching. Before we jump into future work and vision, are there any questions, Danielle, in the chat that we can recap?
Not so far, but please feel free to drop your questions as we go.
All right. Well, we can keep going. So as we look to the future, there are two core problems that we want to solve this year. Danielle mentioned this earlier, and if you've joined other webinars, you've heard our leadership team talk about it, but it's around this proliferation of software. There's a lot of valuable platforms out there solving important problems, and our goal is to work with them to be the meeting place for that data so that we can host the coaching moment in Ambition, pulling in your data insight and data intelligence from other platforms for the mutual benefit of your managers and the employees they're coaching, so that you have that full picture across platforms. And if you go to the next slide, the other big problem that we're solving this year is how to measure the effectiveness of coaching. So today, Ambition records your historical metrics that you've defined are important to your team through the scorecard, activities, and objectives. So we have all these activity measures. So over time, we want to show if coaching is effective. So has your employees' behavior changed as an outcome of a coaching event? Are they on pace towards hitting their long-term goals for that time frame? And if not, we can predict where they're going and suggest how to improve that individual's performance, whether they need another check-in or a new goal, or just a follow-up on something. So this is like the future vision of where we're taking coaching, and especially for showing the effectiveness of a coaching check-in or a program. And to go to the next slide, to show another example here. Here we're looking at an onboarding coaching program. If you're not familiar with Ambition's programs, they are, it's a series of check-ins or one-on-ones. So with this, we want to get clarity into which employees were successful during that onboarding program, and also to show you which employees might require additional training, support, or tools to help get them on track. So it's really important for us to solve this problem this year, as well as bringing in more data, being that meeting place for data. And as we go to the next slide, with all that in mind, we do a really good job of measuring the employee and a team's daily activities and long-term objectives. But as we look ahead, we want to help make sure that you can manage and track the success of your frontline managers. So over time, you'll begin to see us adapt that manager dashboard to give more insight into the activities that managers are doing, to help ensure that they're coaching their team and leveraging other platforms, other data points they need to ensure a successful coaching program, and just to show what a successful manager looks like. So really excited about this one, helping empower the manager from their dashboard. All right, and with all that in mind, the ultimate goal is to look at those historical trends and understand where you're heading if you stay on this course. So from there, we can make recommendations, we can make smart suggestions so that you can change course by leveraging other tools inside Ambition or other platforms to help your managers and their teams hit the goals that they set out to achieve. So we'll be bringing this into like your notifications, your alerts from your dashboard experience. And that is the last future slide. So there's one more around our vision. Just want to wrap up with this, but you might have heard this before, but we believe in a world where companies get really good at rep performance management, specifically being able to build momentum to hit their goals, regardless of where their employees live and work. So our dream is to drive economic opportunity, empower managers, hit our goals no matter where we sit. If anything that I presented really sticks out to you and you'd like a deeper recap, or if you'd like to share your feedback on those topics, I think we'll share my Calendly link so that you can hop on my calendar. I would love to meet with you, hear your feedback, learn more about your use case. So in summary, that's a quick 15-minute run through of what we're planning to build this year.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nick. We can take any questions that you guys have live. I just dropped that Calendly link in the chat if you want to learn anything more about today's content or future projects. We'd love to schedule some time with you. I'm also going to go ahead and drop the upcoming office hours agendas so that you can register for future sessions. But if we don't have any questions, I think we are good to go.
Thank you all for joining.
All right. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, everyone. Talk soon. Bye.